kind of the team's psyche coming off, pretty crushing loss and knowing you got Ohio State this week?
We'll know if it's crushing how it goes this week. Is it? I thought our kids obviously disappointed in the fact that we lost a football game and put a lot of time in it. But when you play hard and play in a great football game like that, where any play that game can change, and you invest some time, you're going to be a little bit disappointed. But they'll bounce back. I mean, they're a great group of competitors, and we have another great opportunity, and so we'll be ready to go. We'll be ready to go. I believe that.
Given the emotion of last week, I mean, how do you guard against a letdown? Obviously, playing number one Ohio State, but how do you kind of guard against?
We won't have a letdown. I believe that. I mean, you're not very competitive at this game. You can't get ready to play this game. I mean, number one team in the country, going to a great stadium. They haven't been beaten a regular season game yet, so there's nothing. And no matter what happens, if something goes wrong, it should be letdown. I'm gonna tell you, they're a good football team. They have very small margin for error. That's what our kids got to be prepared for. Is that we got to make sure we play our brand of football and not make a lot of mistakes. And if we do that, I think that we showed a year ago that we'll have an opportunity in the fourth quarter. So, but yeah, the difference to them is you're dealing with the team that the skill they have all over the field, and the front seven they have on defense and their secondary. There's just not very big margin for error. But anytime you play a good team, you don't have very big margin for error.
As you go against them and all the skill guys they have, does it still start with trying to stop Elliott?
No question. And then I don't think he gets credit for the way he blocks. I mean, I think he's the best blocking tailback that there is. He's the best I've had to defend in, and so a lot of the lead plays he does a tremendous job blocking. But if you don't, we did a good job of limiting him a year ago, and I think that gave us an opportunity. And it's easier said than done. But yeah, we need to limit how many touches he gets.
Coach, what's the toughest part about coaching this team right now, knowing that you're being looked at as potential successor to Coach Gill?
Doing all the media stuff, just from a time-wise, I don't mean that funny. It's just that's the one thing when Coach was still hanging around is he took some of that stuff off my plate. You know what I'm saying? And so, like I say, the football part is easy. Been doing this a long time, and I love doing it. And it's being able to do the other stuff. The other thing is, as far as wanting to be, I've said I want to be next head football coach here. I think I can do it, but believe me, I'm not putting any pressure on myself as far as that goes. Is that choice? I've learned to control, not worry about things I can't control, like I've said, and I don't have control over that. All I can do is make sure the football team is prepared as well as they can, and I'll live with the results.
If you look at the way the defense played against Nebraska compared to Michigan, it just seemed like having Devondre and Cody, at full go made a huge difference for you guys. I mean, what did you think was the difference?
Right. That's the thing I said about me, is that the hard thing too is that you get to Tuesdays. Since last night, I've been trying to look forward, and you got to come in here and look backwards. But I think that just shows how bad I screwed up on the injuries in the practice rotation. That's what I talked about when they got hurt late in that week versus Nebraska game. We had to move kids around in order to play, and they weren't comfortable, and they played slower. And here we practiced the groups we practiced. They had a lot of reps. Those kids felt good, and they played faster. So I think that's we were able to get through practice and with healthy people, and I thought both sides of the ball played with more energy and but that's all because I do believe knowledge is power and confidence, and the kids felt good about what we were doing and played fast.
What went into moving Jack back to the middle?
Well, because we didn't know if Cody was going to be able to go still, and so we had to make sure that we had. I'm a big believer in at linebacker. If you got a week to prepare, you put your best guys on the field. If your backup at one place is better than who you're going to start another place, and you're wrong. And so we just felt like we're going to play our best people on the field at that time. That's what went into it. We started our best three linebackers that were healthy at the time and worked around that.
So did you go back with Matt and sort of reevaluate the last sequence at the end of the game? Or
Sure.
Is
Sure.
Is there things you can gain from
Sure.
analyzing that again?
Yep. I mean, I've talked about him. You know what I'm saying? Is that situation was taken care of between me and coach in the past. I screwed up. I didn't designate, as I said, I didn't designate a time management guy like what I did for Coach Kill. And so that'll be taken care of this week. We still got the 2 opportunities, what we thought we were going to get, and we got to get the ball 6 inches. But there's no question. And I'd do it all over again. We would have clocked the ball coming out of the play reversal, and we would have got one more opportunity. Same time, we shouldn't have needed one more opportunity to get the ball 6 inches. So it is what it is. Moving on.
Tracy, are you defensive coordinating or is Jay doing it?
Jay's doing an awful lot of it. He really is. I'm there to help him with the adjustments and that. I met with him this morning, and that's all I did last week too. Is I helped with the adjustments when they were hurting us, and so I'm in there during the game planning part of it, and I'll help him out with adjustment parts and that. But our defensive staff is, we've worked together a long time, and we all believe in the same things, and so we'll continue to work together. But he's taken over an awful lot of it. And then that allows me, because I need to spend time. That situation of the game also would not have happened if I was more familiar with the plays on offense. It's just the truth. So I need to spend more time in with offense, just learning what they're doing, not necessarily being a bother to them, but knowing what the plays are. So that's also, somebody asked, a difference with Coach Kill around, is knowing he was always going to come back and he stayed in with them. I never did that the last time. And so this time I need to do that. We haven't. Well, Jay Nunez was our special teams quality control, so we did add him, and so he's helping Coach Savell with the special teams part of it. So he was promoted to fill that spot, and so he's taken Jay's work with him also, but he's taken a lot of the paperwork and time-consuming things and meeting in that. And then the other thing is I am sitting in on special teams meetings, which is the first time in years that I've done that. But that's part of the transition and knowing what's going on. I need to know all of that.
Are you comfortable enough with the offense that you would override what Matt's called?
No, the only thing we may get into is whether run or pass. You know what I'm saying? Those guys have done a good job, and I don't. Now, obviously, if you get into a situation where you see at the end of games sometimes where on third downs you go, hey, do you run the ball at the end and make them use their last time out, or do you throw it and try to get a first? I'll be involved in those types of situations, But, it's as long as I know what's going on going to the game, which I will this week on offense, is they got a job to do just like all of us.
Tracy, do you feel like with your going forward here, as far as offense, do you think that you tend a little bit more toward maybe attack, maybe more of an aggressive philosophy versus maybe a little bit more conservative, minimizing mistakes? What's your thought on that?
Move the chains, take care of the ball, period. I mean, really, that's, you don't turn the ball over, you move the chains. You ask kids to do things they're good at doing, which I think we've done a good job with that with Mitch the last couple games. Put those kids in position of doing plays that they're comfortable with doing. I think you'll have success. So that's what I tell the guys, and get the ball to the best players we have in as much space as you can. Make somebody tackle them in space. And so whatever fits in those parameters is what we're going to do.
Tracy, does Ohio State's quarterback change, sort of play much into your?
No, in the off season, we went through and broke down from their games a year ago, and then our quality control people have broken down their games this year of when the different quarterbacks are in there. What changes is, again, just like how Michigan, they did a great job having with the open week of taking Peppers and doing some different things with him out of different personnel than they'd shown and caught us. And so it's the unknown of what Braxton's going to do is what's probably going to have a big impact on the game. So that's the thing that we'll prepare as well as we can for it. But that's where the adjustments and that is, because I'm sure he's going to take on a bigger role. I just don't know what that is.
You mentioned Peppers. What was your thoughts on him as a player and the way they used him offense, defense?
Yeah, he's a good player, and they went with awkward different formations. Like I said, they did it with all big personnel one time and unbalanced, and they did things like that. And the other thing that they did a good job of is that the opening drive of the second half is 3 of those different formational things that they did with him. They saved till the second half, so they didn't just shoot all their bullets in the first half, and then so we had adjustments to do. So they did a good job with him, and offensively, you know, they needed an athlete like that. He's a very good football player. He could play on either side, really could.
Tracy, you said you learned not to worry about things you can't control.
Yes, sir.
Was there a time when you didn't, when you had a harder time?
I really did. You know, is that I can remember when I learned it too. Is that we were at Northern Illinois and we barely beat, I think it was North Dakota, 1AA school. We won a game like, I don't know, don't hold me to it, you have to go back because sometimes I forget the scores, but it's like 17-14 or 21-17, one of those deals. And I was going back to the locker room after we won, and I had 3 or 4 people hollering at me, telling me that I better not cash my paycheck that week, you know, that I didn't earn it. And you know, from the outside, I don't think some people don't understand is that we put a lot of hours into this to prepare for each game, and not every game goes the way we want it to. And I took it pretty personal, and it bothered me for a little while. And I called a good friend that I had, and he made me laugh a little bit, and another coach, and said, hey, you know, your job is to control the things you can control, and you can't have control over that. And from that point on, I really have tried to live by that. And when I go to bed each night, I just try to put my head to the pillow knowing I did the best I can and made the right decision with the information I had, and I've slept pretty good since then. The only night I haven't since then, the last while, is Tuesday night after talking with Coach before practice, knowing that decision was going to come down the next morning, not knowing what it was. I did not get a lot of sleep last Tuesday night.
Coach, with kind of the changes that happened last week in your mentality and the uncertainty for the rest of the staff, do you have to communicate that mindset to the rest of the guys, or how is their psyche right now given the uncertainty?
Oh, they're doing good. We're all moving forward like we're going to be here, and anything else would be a cheat to the kids and to the university, and I really feel good about things, and so we're all in this together. So we've been together a long time, and everybody's approaching it the exact same.
Trace, I know you can't speak about specific recruits, but just in general, what was your sense of how it went with all those kids here this weekend?
Well, I think it went great, you know, and the hardest thing is that, you know, is the uncertainty part, you know, but, you know, I just asked them to hang in there as long as they could, but obviously there comes a point when I don't want some kid to end up with an option that they don't like. You know, I think that's unfair to the kids. So I just told them I hope they're open and honest with us. When that opportunity comes that they feel like they need to start looking at different options for them to be comfortable, then to just let us know. And I understand. What else am I going to tell them? You know what I'm saying? But told them we sure would love to have them hang in there as long as possible. But, you know, it's a great university. There's no question. And because of that, we're able to hold some kids in, you know. But at the same time, you know, everybody, let's not fool anybody. Is that the kids are going to school because of the people involved in the football program also, and that weighs heavily on that trust. And so all I can do is fight every day, and I'll fight every week on the phone to keep them in there as long as I can. And like, again, it's a situation from here I don't have any control over, and I'll just do the best I can, and our staff will do a great job and the best they can.
Take 1 or 2 more for Coach Claeys? If there's no more, then we can finish.
Beautiful. Thanks, guys.